In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These people promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire Cosmere Chronicle, the podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, and we chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we will be chronicling The Final Empire, Chapter 6 through 8. And now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! Thank you, Joe. Yep, and once again, this is Cosmere Chronicles. Maybe I should figure out a better way to start the episodes, but yeah, we're Cosmere Chronicles.
Straight and to the point.
My name's Joe, and once again, I'm joined by Sheta and Justin. Yeah, Justin.
Oh, had me worried.
How are you two doing?
Good.
I'm not doing as well as I was before my name was forgotten.
That's not a very memorable name.
What do you mean? It's only one of the most common names of my era.
Doesn't make it memorable.
You're outing yourself.
Anyone with my name is outed already, Sheta.
You should change it.
Yeah. Change it to Bill.
Yeah, that'll work. Why is everyone ganging up on me? What did I do? We just started the show.
Well, that's a timeless name. Yeah, I think.
You know what? I quit the podcast.
Hey, Bill.
All right. So today we'll just, going to change things up. We'll just start off. I'll ask, Justin, Sheta, just a couple, questions. That way fans can, get to know a little bit more about them. Nothing too personal, so that way it's not going to get uncomfortable. So this week we'll just start off. Name your who are your top 3 favorite DC comic book characters?
Me first.
All right.
We'll start with Sheta.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say Batman, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and Superman probably. Very basic.
All right, Justin.
I was not prepared for this question. Well, I'll go Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, of course. Then we'll say I'll go Power Girl and Midnighter if he counts.
Counts.
Yeah, it's been brought in. They've been publishing comics with them. It counts.
All right, that'll be my top 3.
All right, mine number 1 will be Superman. I'm just basic like that. And then number 2 and 3, I guess I'll have to go with Green Lanterns. We'll go Kyle Rayner and Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan got on 2. You'd like what?
I would like to give an honorable mention to Captain Marvel. He would have been on this list, but then DC has pretty much spent the last decade destroying the character.
They really have. That is true.
Yeah.
He's gone from being one of my top 3 characters to that'd be too embarrassing to say.
What, Joe, you don't want to say that the Captain is your favorite character?
No, it's Captain Marvel. I will not call him the Captain. The Captain was Captain America after he broke off from America. I'm not going to call him Shazam. That's a wizard. He's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, then we'll just do 1 or 2 follow-ups. Who would you say is your favorite Superman?
Like actor?
Yeah.
Well, Shady, you go first.
It'll have to be Christopher Reeves for me.
Christopher Reeves is the best Superman, but I do have to go Tom Welling personally. I just think he embodies it so well.
Yeah, he's great too.
I like Tom Welling. The issue is that so many of those episodes were just not that interesting.
Yes, so many of the episodes are god-awful, and the fact that I still like the version he played is a testament to how he played it.
Yeah. I'll have to go Christopher Reeves as well. I feel like he did the best, like both Superman and Clark Kent.
Very true.
But once again, honorable mention to Henry Cavill. I feel like his Superman has been really good. He just has not had much screen time to develop a Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, just who's your favorite Batman?
Actor again?
Yes.
See, that one's not as clear cut. I want to give an honorable mention quick to Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman in Crisis on Infinite Earths, though. I thought that was quite awesome of a role. But now Batman's. Sheta, you go first again.
Me? Yeah. Not ready for this. Well, I'll probably say Adam West for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's just I just like that spirit version of Batman.
Joe, do I have to pick live action or can I pick Kevin Conroy?
You can give Kevin Conroy as an honorable mention.
Can I pick Kevin Conroy from Crisis?
Is that one episode where he didn't fight really the best portrayal of Batman?
No, because he was also an evil Batman. Jesus.
Yeah, if we go with like just voice acting, Kevin Conroy would be up.
Yeah, he is Batman.
I'm gonna go Adam West too. As much as I like all the later serious Batmans, I think he embodies the spirit of the character best of all actors that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, and then I'm gonna go Michael Keaton, even though there's stuff with the Tim Burton movies I disliked, like with Batman killing a lot of people. I do feel like Michael Keaton's portrayal as Batman was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he portrays it really cool. He brings something very unique to the role that no actor's done since.
Yeah, I would put him as an honorable mention.
All right, but now everyone knows a little bit more about your taste, so they can use that to gauge how you guys, go through this show. And
I thought you were gonna say so they can judge us.
Now they'll know I'll like the more annoying characters.
all right, but now let's jump back to the Cosmere. And something I forgot to do last week, we need one of you to recap.
Not it. Nose goes.
All
What?
right, Sheta.
I actually did nose go before you said that. You just didn't
but
see
on a
it.
podcast you have to say it.
I don't know.
It's not a visual medium.
All right, let me grab my
So recap last week's episode.
last week's. Okay. Okay. I have no notes from last week.
Welcome to my world.
Okay, so can you start us off, Joe?
Last week, quickly you had the meeting where you met the people, and then Kelsier killed a bunch of people.
Yep, there you go.
All right, go into more detail.
All right, it's from Vin's kind of perspective. A bunch of guys from the crew, from Kelsier's crew, come and we are introduced to like Hammond, Breeze, the clubs, and the leader of the Ska Rebellion, who was revealed to have hired them to pull off a mission, which was to overthrow the Lord Ruler and give it over to the Ska. You kind of learn people's powers a little bit, learn a little bit more about the different powers, and then the next chapter we follow Kelsier, where he goes and he robs a nobleman's house and kills a bunch of people with his powers. We get a full chapter of him using the magic that they have there, the powers, which is pretty crazy. And we finally see the Mistborn cloaks. Yeah. Did I miss anything crucial?
No, that was good. You get a point of inspiration.
Okay.
Remember to use it. We never use them.
When should I use it? What scenario?
When you say something stupid, then you can take it back and the audience has to forgive you.
Oh, okay.
On a skill check.
So if you say a joke that doesn't land, you use your point of inspiration, and if you roll a 20, the audience will be forced to laugh.
Okay, that sounds good. Your joke is hilarious.
That'll be the top comment.
Everyone laughs and thinks you're smart.
Edit in a laugh track for that part.
You should. Okay, I'm gonna get my dice ready because I'm gonna use that later.
All right. So right now, what do you guys think of these chapters this week?
Same thing I've thought about all the chapters so far. They've been very informative and very interesting, endearing the characters to me and teaching me about the world as in, any story should.
Yeah. Again, it's moving a lot faster than I'm used to, so I really like that.
Plus,
and I already, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
We also finished part 1 of the book.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that too. Wow. How many parts are there, though? Don't tell me.
It's in the chapters list. There's a word for that.
table of contents?
Yeah, table of contents.
Justin, that's
what
the
I'm trying
first
to
thing
say.
you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Front of the book, it shows you that, there are 5
It shows
parts.
you the chapters. Okay.
Damn, I should have had a point of inspiration for that.
Yeah, that was bad.
But you nose goad.
That's
Yep.
true.
All right, then. So, we will just once again dive right into our chapters. So we're going to start off with chapter number 6. So it begins with Vin. She wakes up in her room, which is in Club's shop, and she's uncomfortable. She's not used to having her own room. She gets out, she sneaks around the shop to see what it is like, and she thinks about the fact that Clubs is a smoker and wonders what that means. She figures that she needs to learn that on her own because Kelsier will likely withhold information and string her along with occasional tidbits. His knowledge bound her to him, and it would be unwise to give away too much information quickly.
Anytime she thinks about how she assumes about other people, it makes me too sad to read. Because you just see what her whole life has been, that she expects this. It's just a fact, to her. Not a question, a fact. It's just how people are.
If while she's going, she goes back to her room, hides behind the door, peeking through like a little crack or something. But then Dachshund walks by and, he just tells her that a bath is ready for her and that Kelsier has a meeting planned for that afternoon. So then, she goes, she takes her bath, and once again she's feeling uncomfortable because the bath was scented. She feels like that she will stick out from the other ska.
I like getting glimpses of her memories because she's like, I'm perfumed like a rich lady's drawer while my brother's robbing her, like that's her memory of that smell, like to smell nice and to be in a nice place. It's just, we get glimpses of her childhood and her past just from little things like that, and I like those.
That's true. That's interesting.
All right, so then Vin walks around the shop more, and then she witnesses Ham arriving. And he's carrying some bags with him, and he says he will be staying there as well, since it pays to stay near the smoker. Ham asks where Kelsier and Dachshund are, and Vin tells him that Kelsier is sleeping because he got in late last night, and Dox is in his room. Ham asks her if she always keeps track of everyone, and she says yes. And Ham just says that she is an odd kid. He grabs some fruit from the kitchen, and then Vin does the same. And she acts like she doesn't know if she's allowed to grab the food, even though the cooks are watching her, and she winds up grabbing some extra, more than she can actually eat, so that way she can save it for later, just in case.
It's so sad. I imagine her like a little animal, like not sure if it's okay. Even though they nodded at her, like, yep, you can take that. Like, cute. It's very endearing.
So later on, Vin is in her room, and then there is a knock at the door. She opens it, and is a teenage boy about a year younger than her, and he looks nervous. And he says, "You're wanted. Up's in the ware above with the doing." When Master jumps to the 3rd floor, he says in a thick Eastern accent. Then the boy blushes and quickly leaves. Vin is confused as to what the hell he meant, but follows him. She comes into a room where Kelsier is having his meeting. Kelsier, Dachshund, Hammond, Breeze, Clubs, Yeadon, and that boy are all there. There's an extra chair there, and when Ham asks who it is for, Kelsier just winks and ignores the question. And during this meeting, Vin notices that, teenage boy looking at her, but whenever she looks back at him, he just looks away.
Cute.
Yeah, shit, I was waiting for you to start doing some stuff with that.
It's so cute. And the way the narrator did his voice was so cute. Like
really?
The accent, it was just so cute. I love it. I hope that it's young love. That's cute.
Kelsier begins the meeting, and he's asking the group to help come up with ideas they will face and how they will deal with them. The biggest issues they come up with are the Luthadel garrison, making chaos in Luthadel, the great houses and their troops and Allomancers, the Steel Ministry and the Steel Inquisitors, and then stealing the ATM once the General Mayhem starts before someone else can, gathering troops for Yeadon and getting his rebellion ready to rule, and the Lord Ruler himself. Kelsier writes this down on a board as they come up with them. And Yeadon complains that, this plan's stupid and they have no chance. And then Kelsier adds Yeadon's bad attitude. And Vin is just taken aback by how matter-of-fact everyone is acting. They are going against the Lord Ruler. He ruled all the world. He was the creator, protector, and punisher of mankind. He had saved them from the deepness, then brought the ash and mist as punishment for the people's lack of faith. There was a grim mirth amongst the group. They knew they had a better chance of making the sun rise at night, yet they were still going to try.
Yeah, I liked getting to see what your common person thinks about the Lord Ruler, just to get a scale for how ridiculous this plan is.
Yeah, I do like seeing that viewpoint. It was really interesting because we don't know like anything about him. I love
Mhm.
hearing little tidbits about how he is and like how he's regarded. I don't know if this is going to be anyone's quote, but I also like the part where Vin says, "By the Lord Ruler, you're serious." Like,
Mhm. I
and then
really
Vin
like that part.
chastises her, like, "Don't use
Mhm.
his name as an oath." Like,
Even when you use it in a sacrilegious way, you give him power, right? Something like that.
yeah,
I thought
it
that
still
was,
honors him when you
yeah,
blaspheme
still
his
honors him.
name.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked that part too. That was one of my favorites.
He also calls him that. Yeah, he says when you curse that creature's name, you acknowledge him as your god. Like he calls him a creature. He hates him.
And one thing I realized, I forgot to do the epigraph at the beginning of the chapter, so I'll just go over it now. All right, so the epigraph: I never wanted this, true, but someone has to stop the deepening. And, apparently, Terrace is the only place this can be done. On this fact, however, I don't have to take the word of the philosophers. I can feel our goal now, can sense it, though the others cannot. It pulses in my mind, far off in the mountains. Anything about that you two wanted to discuss?
Yeah. The
Discussed in the time it was said, correct? Not now.
Well, it doesn't
Or,
matter. We're
or
we're going through 3 chapters.
well, I think it's really interesting what how did I space on her name? Val.
Vin.
Vin.
Vin, yeah, I don't know where that came from. Where, she says that he stopped he saved the world from the deepness and stuff, to imply that it's about him and stuff, which I always kind of wondered if that's what it was. And I wonder if it's going to be that it is him who did that and we're seeing how he came to be, or if he stole that honor from somebody else who's actually writing about this. I'm very curious to learn about all that.
Yeah. Now it seems like it's from the past, not the future, like I was saying last week.
Yeah. Well, I never thought it was from the future.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still could be. It could all be misleads. I have no idea.
I mean, the deep could come back after they defeat him.
All right, so back to the chapter proper with Kelsier's meeting. You know, they start going over, the stuff they have to do. And Kelsier starts with how to bring chaos. Ham suggests a general revolution. Eden says it won't work. Scar Rebellion has tried for 1,000 years to get the Ska in the city to rise up, but it never works. They are too beaten down. Breeze suggests a fire, but Kelsier says that will burn the slums, but not the stone buildings that the noblemen live in. And then Kelsier suggests a house war between the great houses. If they can turn the houses against each other, then Mistborn will start assassinating house leaders, and it won't take long before there's open warfare. Next, they move on to discussing the Luthadel garrison of 20,000 troops. Ham says they could attack with their own army. Breeze says that won't work. And after this, he motions his empty wine glass at the boy near Clubs, and the boy hurriedly refills it. And then Breeze says they would need a larger force. They might be able to raise an army that could hold a city, but they should just give up now if they try to raise an army large enough to take out the garrison in its own fortifications. Kelsier asks how they can raise an army big enough and still hide it from the Lord Ruler. Bree says that central dominance isn't the sort of place where you can raise an army without anyone noticing. Doxson asks about the caves the rebellion hides in, and Yedin is shocked to know that they know about it. Doxson asks how large of an army Yedin wants, and he says 10,000 should be good. Breeze mentions that won't even frighten the garrison. And then Kelsier asks Vin what she thinks, and this shocks her. Kelsier asks her what she would do against a much larger enemy. Vin answers that you don't fight them. Even if you somehow win, you'd be so hurt and broken they couldn't fight anyone else. See, she suggests to get it to leave. She says that if she fought someone big, that she would distract him and get him to leave her alone.
So cute. It was so sad for her to say that.
Because of her experiences?
Yeah, like it was
Or
the
what
way she said
about
it
her
was just
life?
so. Yeah, like the way Kelsier phrased it too. Like, okay, here's a scenario: you're fighting an enemy that's much stronger than you. What do you do? And she's just like, well, you don't fight him, like for sure. You don't try to fight him. Like that's just her life. It's just so sad.
I really liked seeing them run through all these thoughts and plans. Maybe it's just watching too many movies, but usually they just do a quick rundown. Seeing them work out the angles of it and not knowing everything from the start, I thought was interesting. But some of the ways
Mhm.
Kelsier says some of this stuff, I almost wonder if he's already reasoned a lot of it out too.
Yeah,
Just
he's
letting everyone feel like
weird.
they're taking big part of it.
Hmm. He somehow knew Vin had that idea already, you know? Like, he somehow knew she had an idea at least, you know? Like that, like she would
I
have
also
the
think
answer,
he wants
you
her
know?
to take part, He doesn't like her sitting there and doing nothing. Because she's used to
Yeah,
like other people being like, I'm in charge and coming up with stupid plans. He does seem like somebody who would want to run the plans through all the smartest people he can find as well,
yeah. He
and make
does
sure
appreciate
it's going to
her.
be good.
Yeah. Her perspective is valuable, you know?
Yeah.
Ham says that it won't be that easy. If their army wasn't threatening enough, then Lord Ruler won't send out the entire garrison. If if it was too dangerous, then he would just send the Koloth to destroy them. And Vin asks how far away are the pits of Hathsin. The noblemen don't know the pits produce atium, so the Lord Ruler can't send the Koloths to them. So if they have their army and if they take a small part of their army and attack the pits, then the garrison will leave, and then they can send the majority of their army into Luthadel.
I like that part when she came up with the idea. That's the only way.
And so they decide that they will raise their army in the caves. Breeze will recruit members, and Hammond will get people to train them. They ask about gear, and Kelsier says that he has that covered. He has a Lord Renoux coming into a nearby city called Feliz, and he is sympathetic to them. He will get them weapons. They question how he has a noble helping them, and then they realize that Kelsier killed Renoux and replaced him with an imposter.
That was hilarious. Everyone's like, you working with a noble? Like, oh, you fucking killed a guy, didn't you? Oh, you know
It's
me.
like, you killed him. Oh, you got me. Yeah, you know how I'd be like hating nobles.
That was so funny.
Yeah. That was so scary though.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Because
all
the whole,
like
yeah.
it's all fun in games. It's like he's a murderer. Like that's scary. Like when you first see him, we know he killed that awful uh guy who had taken the girl and stuff. So we're just like, good, he
He killed
rescued the girl.
everyone there.
Yeah. But yeah, he did. He killed everyone, and um, he would have done that anyway. I feel like that was just a good excuse.
And if you remember back to that prologue, he did mention a Lord Renoux there. That's what he was telling the other Ska. Oh yeah, there's
Yes,
a
he did.
Lord Renoux that pays their.
Definitely recognize that because I was waiting for that hymn to come up again.
No, I did not remember that at all.
Really, I was like, "Who's this
Mm-mm.
Lord?" I was really curious who it would be, but I'm sad to learn that he's a fake. I thought that there were real nobles or like something like that, but he's just made up. He lied, kinda.
All right, and then next the group discuss how to get a housework going. And Kelsier says that he has already begun that part of the plan. And then Ham gives Breeze a coin because they had a bet that Kelsier had something to do with the attack on Keep Venture the night before. And word on the streets is that someone sent 3 Mistborn to assassinate Strath Venture. And this was part of Kelsier's plan. The great houses have an unspoken agreement not to use Mistborn to assassinate each other. A few more strikes like that, and they'll be snapping at each other. And of course, since nobody even knows that there are any Ska Mistborn, there's a Mistborn trying to attack, then it has to be another nobleman. All right, then they discuss keeping an eye on the nobles and gain information from the courts. Breeze suggests sending their Renoux to the parties, but Kelsier says that won't work. He looks exactly like a Renoux, but they can't let him get near an Inquisitor. Eden is confused about this, and Breeze tells him that he doesn't want to know. Everyone else besides Vin and Eden know what they are talking about.
Kind of ominous.
And then Kelsier says they will send Doc to the social functions, but Doc says that he can't. He got marked during a previous job. Eden is ruled out quickly, and Clubs is ruled out because he's a prominent local ska craftsman. Breeze says that he is out because he has several aliases amongst the nobility, and it wouldn't work if he used one, but someone recognized him as a different one. Ham says that he could do it, but he is a terrible actor.
I love
That was
him.
my
That's
favorite
funny.
excuse. Yeah. I'll do it, but he's going to be like Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards if he does.
Buongiorno. Yeah, I know French.
And then Kelsier looks at the boy that's with Clubs and asks him what his name is. And he answers Lestibornis. Kelsier is pretty much like, that's a mouthful. We need to figure out a nickname. And Kelsier asks the boy if he always speaks in that Eastern Street slang. And then the boy answers, was in the place when I was young. So Kelsier rules him out.
Cute. I love him. That's my favorite character. So cute.
Mistborn is.
It just talks so cute and funny. It's one of my favorite archetypes. Not enough characters are like that.
And then Kelsier looks at Vin and asks how good she is at being a noblewoman. She says that Reen gave her a few lessons, but she never actually tried it. And Kelsier says she'll do fine.
And then writes her name on the board under, like, spy, right?
Yeah.
She's just like, huh? That's a big deal to ask. Like, I can't do that.
And Kelsier says he is still planning on dealing with the Lord Ruler personally. He just has to figure out how to make the 11th metal work. If he can't, then they just have to trick the Lord Ruler out of the city. Ham tells Eden not to worry too much. The Lord Ruler is a powerful Allomancer, but he isn't omnipotent.
I don't buy it. I'm worried for them.
Also, I didn't realize that the Lord Ruler was an Allomancer too. Like, he has powers. And I was like, he is putting a spell on everybody to stay in power, I bet.
That's an interesting theory on all the ska, Sheta.
Because,
Yeah, I like that.
when they were talking about fighting him, Vin was like, there was a part where it's described like, she knew you just don't fight the Lord Ruler, like it's impossible. She just felt it, And I was like, that sounds an awful lot like mind control, like.
I don't know for sure yet if I buy that theory, but I do think there's something more to it than what we're seeing. But I really do like it.
Yeah.
And then Kelsier says
Also,
that should be. Oh, go ahead.
Just right when they're like, who should infiltrate? I was like, it's gonna be Vin. Like,
yeah, I was like
for sure.
I was looking back. We took a page and a half to answer a question that we all knew the answer for at the beginning. But I think it's really interesting that he likes to walk through everything so it doesn't feel all contrived. So you totally believe it,
Yeah, it's funny.
What, your mind didn't immediately jump to Mistborn is?
I didn't even have that name memorized.
We hadn't heard it yet.
Yeah, so no, it did not jump to that.
Cute. Oh my gosh.
Because that's another one where, it's something that I noticed on a read, but, through you wouldn't notice it is. Back in, I think, like, Chapter 2, Doxson is talking to Kelsier. He mentions, we need a smoker. Yeah, there's clubs. I heard he has a relative that's a tin eye. Yep, that's Mistborn is, just gets mentioned there. Last week's episode, there was one mention of, clubs comes in, talk to them, and then leaves, and there was a teenage boy with them. He's been there, he hasn't actually done anything till now.
You see, I was wondering if he was a little relative or if he was like his side squeeze or something.
Ew.
No, he haven't answered. I didn't know the guy yet.
I thought that too, and I was like, he has all these young apprentices, like, is he a creep or something?
Little slave boy.
Yeah, but no, they're just apprentices. He's just one of those mentor types, that's all.
Could be both, you never know.
A lot of those mentor types are those.
What is that based on? What are you talking about?
I can't say. But yeah, I really was waiting for him to say something, or I didn't know he was gonna even have a name, so I'm really happy that he does.
And then Kelsier says that should be about it, but Ham asks about the Ministry and the Steel Inquisitors. Kelsier says they'll let his brother deal with them. And then from the back of the room, a man says, like hell you will. And Vin looks at the new man, and the similarity between him and Kelsier was obvious. And Marsh says that he isn't joining the job, and he wants to talk privately with his little brother. So everyone leaves. Vin gives the appearance of retiring to her room, but then sneaks back to listen to Kelsier and Marsh talk. And that's the end of the chapter. So anything else in this chapter you two want to go over?
You learn a lot about Kelsier with just being like, yep, that guy's doing that. He just says it. Like,
yeah, he's really
Vin's
in charge,
infiltrating.
Right?
Yeah, he's kind of bossy. And yeah, just see a lot of his personality come out. Like, he didn't even be like, Vin, can you do it? Is that okay with you? He just like wrote her name down. Like, yep, that's how it is now. Seems like the type of guy to really make things happen, though. Yeah.
Well, it's also, I think it comes across more of him having faith in her and just being like, hey, girl, do this. It's more just like, yep,
it does.
Vin, you'll do this, and don't worry, we believe in you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be a little bit of both, honestly.
Yeah. Because he does, but she's like, huh? It's only because she's so used to being told what to do that she probably just was like, okay.
And she probably has never had anything real important to do on job site.
Well, no, she does. They just never tell her it's important,
Well, yeah.
Which is funny.
All right. So I guess then we'll move on to chapter 7. Starting epigraph. Rashek is a tall man, of course. Most of the terracemen are. He is young to receive so much respect from the other packmen. He has charisma, and the women of the court would probably describe him as handsome in a rugged sort of way. Yet, it amazes me that anyone would give heed to a man who speaks such hatred. He has never seen Plenium, yet he curses the city. He does not know me, yet I can already see the anger and hostility in his eyes.
There's my bet on who the king's going to be.
Yeah, that's the Lord Ruler.
This Rashek guy is the Lord Ruler?
No,
Yep.
the guy he's saying is the bad guy. Oh, was that his name? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a name for the person who's writing this.
Probably because he's the Lord Ruler, honestly.
Yeah. I'm getting bent back and forth with this, with how he writes. Like, I don't know what to expect. Could be anyone.
Even you.
Anyone except that. That would be a real surprise.
The
No
end of
wonder
the
you
book.
wanted us to read these Shetas in them.
End of the book. It turns out that, yep, the villain is a main character from a Choose Your Own Adventure book that you did one.
Oh, I thought it would be it ends, and it's like, and he looked straight forward at the man reading these pages, and then the next book would be a Choose Your Own Adventure where you're the villain.
Wow, stupid.
Starts, you look back. Kelsier is staring straight in your eyes with blood in his eyes. Go to page 297 if you want to run. Go to page 40 if you want to fight.
Or page 60 to admit you killed his wife and you liked it.
That would be awesome and yet horrible at the same time.
You just don't know how people react. They read just a normal fantasy book, then the sequel is a Choose Your Own Adventure book.
Not even about the protagonist.
Yeah. But you get to play in the world, though. That's kind of cool.
And then after that, then they published 4 different books for the third one, and you have to choose which one would work with what you chose in the second book.
Yeah, what
God,
ending
no.
did you choose? Yeah.
We got
That'd be
ending
pretty
A.
epic.
I think it'd just be dumb. I don't think anybody would want that.
Honestly, if I learned that, I'd be more intrigued to read a book just to see how it goes.
Especially if it's a fantasy choose your own adventure. Fantasy books are already big. Then you need to have this many pages to make it satisfying. It's like, all right, if you want this option, go to book 4, page 50. All right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that Deadpool Choose Your Own Adventure was. If you pick this, just wait until issue 3.
Yeah, that's why I didn't actually do it until I had all 5 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you even do it with one issue only?
Well, it's like
you've got to get all 5 because you'll go back to something from each issue,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But you might not go back to issue 2 from issue 4. So issue 1, you just, usually it's at the end of it where it does that, but then the later ones got more complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, because issue 1 at the end, it was like, depending on your choice, you either then would jump to issue 2, 3, or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go to the next one, then at the end, you either then go to, like, say you go into issue 3, then have you either go to issue 2 or 4. And then once you do, like, the next one, then it has you do the one of those that you didn't do. Then once you complete all 3 of those, then you went to issue 5. That's if you could make it through them all. With those, I kept dying.
Oh, you didn't take the bagel. That's why.
All right, so back to this. So chapter 7. So Marsh used to be the leader of the Ska Rebellion, but had given up leadership. And Marsh hands Kelsier a list with the names of the 11 people he had killed the night. And Kelsier just tossed the list into the crackling hearth, saying that they served the final empire. Marsh says that they were men, and several of them were Ska. Kelsier calls them traitors, and Marsh says they were just trying to do their best with what life gave them. Kelsier says that if they want to stand against him like noblemen, then they can die like noblemen.
I like having a character who calls him out for this bloodthirst stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, like we were saying before, he isn't murdering people,
Mm-hmm.
and in this kind of in his group, they're just like, yeah, ha ha ha, you murdered him. That's funny, you know.
And fuck
To have someone
Renoux.
be, yeah.
And Marsh is upset with how Kelsier has shown up and is trying to take down the final empire. Marsh had dedicated his life to that, while Kelsier and his thieving friends partied and planned petty burglaries. How dare he hijack the rebellion for one of his little jobs? Kelsier says that isn't what this is about and that he's changed. Marsh says that this isn't about the cause. It may not be about the money for Kelsier, but is about revenge. Kelsier asks Marsh to help. He needs someone to infiltrate the ministry and keep an eye on the Inquisitors. Marsh asks if he expects him to help. Kelsier says that Marsh had told him that he could do great things if he ever applied himself to a worthy goal, which is what he is doing now. Marsh says that some people are different now, others are gone. Kelsier says that he misses her too. Marsh says that despite what she did, sometimes he wishes that Kelsier hadn't been the one to return from the... Kelsier wishes the same thing every day.
What happened? Who is the woman? I'm so curious.
Oh, that's what he wants.
Sounds like the brother loved her too.
Marsh says he's leaving, but if Kelsier actually seems sincere this time, then he'll come back and listen. He says that he'll return tomorrow. As Marsh leaves, Kelsier notices that Vin was listening in. Kelsier smiles. The girl is remarkably skilled. Hopefully, he would encourage the skills while helping to heal the scars. And then Vin heads back to her room and pretends that she was asleep. Kelsier arrives and asks what she thinks of Marsh. Then he tells her that they are going out to begin her training. They go down to the first floor and Kelsier goes to grab something. And Vin sees the crew sitting around a table having a good time.
The part was very sad.
Yeah.
I really liked it though. You see them, they were drinking, but not that much, just a little bit. And they were also laughing, but not like that raucous laughing, like super drunk guys kind of laughing. It was kind of like actually nice and stuff. They were just having a nice, pleasant time and hanging out genuinely together because they liked each other. And she kind of wanted to join them, but she was too scared. This is the cutest thing. She didn't know what that was. Like niceness? Like actual friendship, you know? Like what's that?
Yeah, Vin felt as if the light and humor were a barrier to her, but she wasn't able to completely suppress her longing.
Oh. I hope they become like a family. That would be nice. Like Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious family.
Yeah. A crew is a family. You gotta trust each other. Oh, now I know who I'm casting to play Kelsier.
Vin Diesel is Kelsier.
Whoa, his name's
That
Vin.
sounds horrible, but he'd do it.
Yep. We're Mistborn. We're family.
All right, you're fired, Sheta.
I don't know if I could imagine Vin Diesel smiling.
He smiles all the time in Fast and Furious. He's always got that weird grin, like he's like chewing food.
Grin is not the right word for it, but the second part I'll agree with.
Like he's chewing food.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good way to describe a smile. All right. So then Kelsier returns and gives Vin his gift, a mist cloak. Vin is surprised and figured she'd have to earn it, and Kelsier asks her what's there to earn. This is who you are, Vin. She puts on the cloak. Kelsier hands her some vials and has her drink one.
Yeah, I thought she'd have to earn it too. So I was like, oh, sweet. You get one right off the bat.
Yeah, you've been watching too many CW shows where it takes them the whole season to get their real costume.
Yeah.
Movies too, I'm so sick of that. So it is nice to just say, hey, you know the thing? Here it is, right now. No bullshit.
Because he's right. Like, what do you gotta earn? You are a Mistborn, you know? Like, I really like that. It's just, that's it. Stop making me wait till the final episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then they head out into the mist, and Kelsier says that this is theirs. The mist belong to them. Vin asks if they should be worried of soldiers, but Kelsier says that soldiers will ignore Mistborn. Nearly all Mistborn are members of great houses. Mistborn identities are closely guarded house secrets, and rumors about who is a Mistborn is always a focus of high noble gossip.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the nobles at all. I didn't know, I guess I didn't put it together that since nobles are the only ones who can have powers, like some of them must have like a second vigilante life. Like,
yeah. It's funny in a little bit when they describe that it's a little unseemly to imagine the nobles crouching around the freaking rooftop all creepy. I thought that was hilarious. So people tend not to really talk about it too often.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. I hope that Vin meets a handsome, noble guy that is like Batman. That would be cool.
I don't think Kelsier would like that very much. That
No, he
kind of
wouldn't. He would have to change his mind.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Wait, so Sheta,
But it's
what train are you on now? Are you on the Vin Kelsier train, the Vin Mistborn train, or the Vin Batman train?
well, I'm just in it for the ride. I want to see all of that. But I think the Batman one would be really interesting. I'm excited for her to join the noble courts.
Evan, I think there's a cool visual during this whole thing where I guess while they're out there in the mists are always like swirling around them and all that. And the mist cloak, it does help like conceal them when they're moving and everything. Because like when they're moving, it gives like a much larger target, so it's harder to actually pin down where their body is, especially when mixed with the mists. And then Kelsier, he has Vin begin burning the metals one at a time. First, she burns pewter and feels it enhance her physical abilities. Kelsier tells her about flaring, which burns your metal faster, but it gives you a stronger use of it. And also, he lets her know that pewter burns relatively quickly. And then Kelsier tells her that each metal has an opposite. One pushes and one pulls, and one is always an alloy of the other. So, and Vin burns tin, which is the linked metal to pewter, and it heightens all of her senses. All right, and then Kelsier tells her that tin burns slowly, and most Mistborn are always burning it. But also warns her that loud noises or flashes could hurt if she is burning tin.
Yeah, learning all the rules was very interesting. I thought it was going to be all tedious because we'd just seen him do all that in the previous chapters, but wisely, he doesn't focus on the stuff we know. He just adds to it, basically, which I found very, very interesting.
Yep, and like I said, they're all connected. So yeah, because pewter and tin, one is like your physical senses get heightened, one is all your other senses get heightened. So they're opposites, and pewter is an alloy of tin.
Oh, all this hard magic is so crazy. It's hard to memorize. I'd like a chart or something. That would be nice.
Well, let me look. What's the Ars Arcanum?
I like them using real metal mixers as recipes for what you can do. I think that's really interesting to use real metal mixtures.
I'm curious what the metal thing is. Why? Why does any of this work? And how did they discover it? And how did people discover which metals do what? And then also, I'm very curious about if there are other things they don't know yet, like the 11th metal and stuff.
Yeah, it is interesting because we have trace metals in our bodies and stuff. So that's why
they talk about. Oh, you go.
It's just funny because I'm like, well, if you have the force, you just kind of have it in you. It's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Your midichlorian count is pretty good. Your trace minerals inside you is pretty high.
I like when she's talking about how she has accidentally done the stuff that makes you sick before, and about all the random metals that do exist and stuff,
Yeah, or like she drank from a pewter cup and then had a little bit of that in her,
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's where like earlier chapters she talked about how the beatings never really hurt as much as they really should, because unknown to her, she had been getting just trace amounts of pewter and had been burning it. And then there's some real technical explanations about the alloys where, you want like the perfect percentages of tin to I can't remember what makes tin and copper, tin and bronze, whatever it is. You want the perfect mixture, like 93%, 7%, whatever it is, because that will give you the best usage. If the percentage is off a little bit, it's not going to be as strong. And if you take other metals that aren't allomantic metals and try burning them, it will get you sick or possibly just kill you.
Yeah, that aspect's what I'm very interested about.
Yeah.
Because, unlike Sheta, a lot of the times I like my magic to just be science with another name,
I don't like it. I'm like, too much. Just go pew pew. You don't need all that. Aloha Mora!
As Starscream says, magic can never defeat science. I always like that thing.
Right, and then Vin, while she's burning, tin, she looks up in the sky and sees stars for the first time. Kelsier says that people used to see them all the time before the mist came and the ash and ash mounts filled the sky with smoke. The ruler has trushed memories of those days, but still some memories remain.
I wonder what memories. Where did he get the info?
just words passed down over generations.
Yeah, but he
I don't
probably
know.
is very
Maybe there's a book.
learned. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm curious about that book. I want to know. There were a lot of things that we have not learned yet that they don't know. Like, I didn't know she didn't know stars.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then Vin, burns another metal, and she can sense lines. Kelsier says to leave that metal and its partner alone for now. So she moves to a different one. She burns another metal and can sense vibrations coming from Kelsier. He sees that is bronze. Or he says that is bronze. Seekers, like Marsh, use it to sense when someone is using Allomancy nearby. Inquisitors are also seekers and use this to find half-breed children and noblemen who use Allomancy improperly. And then Vin, while still burning, then she can no longer sense Kelsier. He has begun burning copper, which hides you from a seeker. It creates a cloud around you and also hides those nearby. And it also protects you from emotional Allomancy. So this is the power of what smokers like clubs.
That's not what I expected smokers to do, but it makes sense from what they've been talking about so far.
Yeah, I thought it would be like a smoke screen or something.
That would have been dumb, but that's what I imagined too.
Well, not actually, but like the idea of a smoke screen to hide.
Well,
to
that's
hide
what it
behind.
is.
Yeah.
And then Vin decides to burn the metal Kelsier told her not to. She figures that it must be the most powerful, and he is trying to keep it from her. And then, she senses the lines, and she pulls on one of the lines, and a rusty nail flies at her. And then
A small
Kelsier
one.
pushes, or gets the nail out of the way so that way it doesn't fly into Vin. And he tells her that he knew that she would wind up doing that. And Kelsier teaches Vin about consequences when using Allomancy. So pretty much, whenever there's a push, there's a pull, that sort of stuff. So, and it's all about your weight. So, say for instance, you drop a coin at the ground, or you push a coin, you weigh more than that, so it's going to keep flying. But once it hits like a wall, or you push again, now you're pushing against the ground. So now you're the one that's going to go flying. And other stuff like if you're burning pewter and you're carrying something heavy, and the pewter runs out, now your strength isn't going to be able to carry that heavy thing, and you'll just be crushed.
All these rules really make me want a video game based on it. When he's like, some people just keep their I don't know, copper or something burning so that their senses are alert and it burns slower. So I was like, that would be me. If this was a game, I'd keep that on all the time just so I can sense where everything is, Like, I can just see how I would play it or how I would do it too. I really do want them to make a Witcher type game, but with Mistborn.
You've got Fortnite, Sheta.
Not the same. I want the whole like mechanics of using the Allomancy powers. Like, I want to swing around town like Spider-Man, but using their pulse system.
At one point, there was a Mistborn video game that was like in development. I don't know how far into it. I think there were like some screenshots from it, just like early development sort of stuff with like a Mistborn. I don't know if it was just a nameless Mistborn or if you were playing Kelsier or somebody walking around a city with. I think there were some lines, but it's nothing that actually got released or close to be.
That would be so fun. I bet if they made a show or something, they would do it. I was just gonna say that's not true because they made a Witcher video game before the show. So it's possible.
And Kelsier teaches Vin how to push and pull metal using steel and iron. Then he tells her to go jump over the wall, to the outside of the city. And he leaps up, and Vin pushes herself off an ingot in the ground into the air. And that's the end of that chapter.
This book has been feeling really modern somehow. Like, I laughed out loud when the nail came at her, and she goes, "That nail attacked me." And Kelsier goes, "Actually, you kind of attacked yourself." Like, like
Power can bring nails to life? That's amazing.
I was like, that's so funny. Like, that's so cute. And then when he goes, oh, I forgot a part I wanted to say. At the beginning, when they're going out and stuff like that, and he goes like, your first lesson isn't about allomancy, but attitude. And I was like, that is trailered right there. Like,
oh god.
Like I can already see the trailer where he's training her. Oh. Yeah, but those kind of things really make it feel like it would be a really good modern movie. Or
Well,
I
the
love
book's not that
electronic.
old, Sheta, you know.
I know it's not old, but like
I
it's
mean,
kind of
like, it's not old
it's a
at all.
new
It's from,
it takes a new spin on fantasy is what I was saying, Like
yeah.
it's not like Lord of the Rings. It's like a new inspired by fantasy, like our old fantasy novel, new fantasy. I like
Yeah,
it.
I get that
And
feeling as well. It doesn't seem like it wants to be just derivative of, the generic idea of fantasy people think of, It wants to
mhm.
be a new thing of its own.
Yeah, like you think of a fantasy fan, like I always thought this growing up. Like, oh, you must like Lord of the Rings and like Wheel of Time and stuff like that. Like this is a very new fantasy. The part where he goes, "All right, now let's go jump off that building," also seems like part of the trailer, and she's gonna go like, "What?" Uh, uh, I
You
can
know
see the
what? I don't
trailer
want you in
very
charge of
good.
this movie's trailer, Shita.
Yeah, this trailer seems like it's from the early 2000s, so I wouldn't want to see that movie either.
Well, with movies, like Mistborn is like the Brand Sanderson thing that has come like closest to being made. Like, there have been like movie rights sold and movies have been like in pre-production out of that sort of stuff. I think the
Well, at
closest
least you got money.
I think the closest I ever got one time was that they were even like discussing casting or maybe even starting to do like some casting calls, but then all that fell through. But
I'll
it's
never understand why Hollywood spends so much money to get the rights to things and then never does anything with them.
well, Sanderson is also a lot more protective of his stuff, which is why it's not getting out there. I know, like he himself has written the scripts for the Mistborn movie, and
Hmm.
he says he has two different. At least I heard that he made two different versions. One is one that will be more closely following the books. Another one is just something that just goes a completely different direction.
See, that I would find totally pointless. I never want to go to a theater to watch an adaptation of like a set story and have it just be a different story. That always pisses me off.
Like Wanted.
Yes, like Wanted. Even though that's a popular movie, it's not the source material. But then I do like Starship Troopers, so I don't know. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. It's
Yeah,
more about when it keeps the basis the same and then just follows it for like 20 minutes and then decides it's a different movie. That's what always annoys me.
yeah.
Like Dark Tower or something, where you're like, what are
Oh
you
God.
doing?
That's probably the reason why I still haven't finished the first season of Wheel of Time. Was watching the first few episodes, like, man, this is awesome. Then with like when episode 5 ended, and there's or 7, whichever one's like the one before the final episode, I'm just like, I'm just not feeling this anymore, and I have not been able to finish the last episode of that first season. Even though I loved all the
Yeah.
stuff before it, just stuff in that penultimate episode of the season just kind of annoyed me.
Well, I heard it annoyed Brandon Sanderson too, so.
Granted, there's also other stuff like one of the three main characters, the actor, because they had to pause during COVID and then come back. He wasn't able to come back afterwards. So the last episode, they had to just suddenly write his character out in a way that was just really stupid, and then recast him in the second season. But so back to Mistborn. Anything else in this chapter you two wanted to go over?
I think it's cool that or interesting that they talk about the way you have to burn your metals at the end of the day so that you don't hurt yourself because it's dangerous to keep it in your body.
Oh,
It
yeah, I like
basically,
that too.
yeah. Also, I thought it was scary that using the powers too much, you'll start to feel it in your body, like being stretched out. Like, I was like, what? That sounds like drugs. Like, that sounds like it's bad for you. Like, and so I
I like
wonder
how
if
they
there's,
talk about how this is an unnatural thing you're doing, basically,
yeah,
there are
yeah.
consequences. I
I
find that
thought it,
really fascinating.
they're doing something like you're not really supposed to do. Like, yeah, it is like drugs. I wonder if anyone will start to use it in a bad way, like have it be like a drug problem. Like, I wonder if Vin will start having like bad stuff because she, you know, isn't used to it, and she's, I don't know. I'm worried for her. Maybe Kelsier too. He's getting kind of reckless, so or he's really reckless, so he probably already has it.
I want to see somebody, because the body one, if they use too much, I think it'll just fuck them up. But I want to see somebody who's used the senses one too much. I think they'd be all crazy and tweaky.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on up to chapter 8. So once again, the epigraph. He shall defend their ways, yet shall violate them. He will be their savior. They'll call him. His name shall be Discord, yet they shall love him for it.
Well, that's the creepiest one yet. Things sure escalated for this guy.
All right, so the chapter starts off. Vin's launched into the air after she pushed off the ingot, but she gets stuck just floating in the air, unable to move. Kelsier is on the wall a few feet away and jokes with her before pulling her towards him using her belt and the vials and stuff. And then he pulls the ingot towards him and tosses it to the other side of the wall. Kelsier says that it's time to go down the wall, and he jumps off. After noticing that guards are coming, Vin goes over the edge. She isn't lined up perfectly with the ingot, and when she pushes herself off, she gets pushed to the side. Then she pulls on the ingot, but it just winds up pulling towards her when she thought she would get pulled towards it. And she winds up falling because now she's not pushing off. Kelsier catches her with his Allomancy before she hits the ground and says that she did well. Everyone nearly dies their first time. It's like Neo jumping off a building. Everyone always fails their first time.
Basically. I could not do what she did. If they brought me up, I couldn't have even gotten up there in the first place. But a little later, Kelsier says he had to be pushed off. That's how I would have been. Like, no way.
Kelsier also says this shows why they need to wear very little metal, since he could pull on Vin while she was in. She says that she'll have to remove her earring, but Kelsier says it'll be fine. Since it pierces her flesh, it can't be used by others. You cannot push or pull on metals in a body. She should keep the earring because it could be used as a weapon in an emergency.
I'm going to call it that Vin is definitely going to kill someone with that earring.
So then they begin walking, and they're outside the city now, walking through the forest. And Vin believes she hears something. And Kelsier says that is probably just a mist, and they should go see it. And this just shocks Vin, what you want to go see a mist wraith? And when they find it, it is a large, 10-foot tall piece of translucent flesh and muscles with dozens of legs and heads.
This was beyond my favorite part in the book. I could not believe that. I'm like, okay, and then I have some Lovecraftian fucking nightmare staring us down within a paragraph, That escalated very quickly. And the way it was described was so fucking nightmarish.
Yeah. I thought they were more like yokai a little bit.
I imagined a wraith, like a woo, not like a 7-headed, 100-limbed, rolling, jellish monstrosity.
Yeah, like they were kind of translucent too.
Mm-hmm.
Like human arms, horse arms, horse legs.
All kinds of random. Because when she says it had a bunch of limbs, I'm like, okay, it's some kind of... Or it says it's a hill. I'm like, okay, it's some kind of monster thing. Limbs, I'm like, okay. Then it's like... Some of them seemed like deer, some horses, so all these animals, some humans. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And how does he not say it's harmless? I assumed it was just sucking people in, Or
yeah.
I had a whole theory right there that it was when the mists came in, everyone out there got merged together into horrible monsters. So when he described it, I was like, okay, that seems a little less scary, but still scary as hell.
Yep. Mist wraiths are scavengers and collect bodies, keeping bones they want and removing the rest. They don't attack people. It's like the human parts in there. Kelsier says it probably just came from a human body.
No,
Kelsier
an adult human body. Because they don't usually attack adult humans. That made me creeped out too.
And Kelsier says that the nobility have devised their own uses for the creature.
Yeah, to grow new body parts, I'd imagine.
It was to get rid of bodies they killed.
Yeah, that too, of course.
And
or
Vin
decorations for their lawn.
And then Vin asks if this is what he brought her out to see, but Kelsier says no.
No, what the fuck? No. Well, I want to say quick. Yeah, like this? God, what the hell's wrong with you? But it was when she asks, are they intelligent? And he says, one this young, no. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? One this young, no. And she's just like, oh, okay. I'm like, and then I'm imagining, do they map brains and stuff too and get smarter over time? I'm so curious about these things. But that was just glanced over for something so incredibly messed up.
Yeah. Like, no, give me more details. Like,
yeah, if I was there, I'd be like, okay, give me an entire freaking college course on this thing. I don't want to just have two answers.
He's so, casual about it. Like, as if it was just, a cow or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I imagine.
Like, you want to go see it?
Yeah. When you travel out there a lot, I imagine you see quite a few of those things.
And the Scar are usually the ones that are afraid of going outside in the mist.
Fucking imagine if you're like, I'm gonna escape from my master, and you run out, and then you're greeted with that. No context for what it is. You'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and be a slave, actually. Like, God, no. You would tell everyone about the most fucked up thing you saw, and the stories would spread just like they have in this world, you know? Like, yeah, you don't go out there. See, now it is starting to feel like the mist, because the monsters in there are kind of shaped all weird like that.
And so they walk a little bit more and they find a man in a carriage. The man is really tall and his ears have studs all along the perimeter. He is a terraceman named Sazed. The nobility prefer to have terrace stewards. And Sazed says that it is late and they are still an hour from Feliz. So they get it riding. And then as Kelsier and Vin are riding the carriage, Vin says that Kelsier and Marsh don't get along. Kelsier says they never really got along. Vin asks if Marsh beat him often, but Kelsier says they got into arguments, but Marsh never beat him.
Oh god, that question being the first thing she asked was so funny. And then you're
That's
gonna
so
say the follow-up,
sad.
I'm sure, which was just as sad.
Yep, and Kelsier can tell that Vin doesn't believe him.
But when she says, "Oh, how did you escape him?" then you know.
Yeah. That's so sad. Like, oh, you guys don't get along? Like, did he beat you? Like
No, not
what?
did
No,
he
he
beat
didn't
you.
beat me. Like,
How often did he beat you? Was it a lot
yeah.
then? It must have been a
Yeah.
lot if you didn't like him.
Oh, the baby. So sad.
And Kelsier thinks about he and Marsh were lucky. Their mother was a Ska who managed to hide that fact and became a nobleman's mistress. Kelsier and Marsh grew up privileged, while considered illegitimate, until their father found out the truth. And Vin asks Kelsier why he taught her all those things about Allomancy. Kelsier tells her that he promised her that he would. And Vin asks what would keep her from running now, and Kelsier says nothing will. Vin says there were 2 more medals and he didn't teach her. Kelsier says that those medals are difficult to get used to, but he can teach her when they arrive in Feliz. Kelsier says he's not trying to trick her. People serve on his crews because they want to, and they are effective because they can rely on one another. No distrust, no betrayals. Vin says the betrayal that sent him to the pits. Kelsier says that's not worth talking about, but Vin says there was a traitor. Kelsier says they don't know for certain that there was one.
Like finally hearing a little bit about what happened.
Not really.
Well, he admitted it though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe she was brave enough to bring it up though. Because he didn't know that she knew. Like, he's like, how do you know about that? Like, you know.
Yep, and then Kelsier tells Vin that his crews rely on trust. If she wants out, and they can go back to Luthadel. He can teach her the last 2 medals, and she can leave. Vin says that she has no. Kelsier get 3,000 boxing. And after telling Sazed to turn the carriage around, Kelsier tells Vin that he's serious. He can't have someone on his team who doesn't want to work with him. Kelsier says that she trusted him enough to jump off the wall, and he caught her. She's going to have to trust him this time. He can tell that she doesn't like the word trust. Vin says that she'll stay, but not because she trusts him. She wants to see what happens. And then they continue on to Feliz. Kelsier mentions that the plants are wrong. They should be green instead of brown. Vin has a hard time imagining the plants green. It just seems weird.
It's another thing, like the stars. It's like, well, shouldn't they be brown? It's like green. That's weird. Like,
That was interesting to learn that people don't have any concept for that. And then you wonder, why does he?
yeah.
Well, he did spend that time, the last couple years going around learning like old myths and stuff, and that's how he found out about the 11th medal.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means.
All right, then they arrive at Mansion Renoux and they meet Lord Renoux. Kelsier and Renoux leave to go speak privately, and Vin is annoyed at this. Renoux's servants bring food to Vin. She sees that the place is incredibly clean, but she isn't too upset. The servants are happy here. Vin wonders how much Sazed knows and asks how he came here. And his response is, "You mean, how did a Terraceman steward end up as part of the rebellion intending to overthrow the final empire?" And Sazed says it is because of his belief. He asked Vin what he believes, as it is the most important question. He asked if she believes if the Lord Ruler is the ascended avatar of God. Is he a sliver of infinity? If she doesn't believe what the ministry teaches, then he can offer her an alternative. And then Kelsier and Renoux return. Renoux asks if she is supposed to be his heir. He says it won't work and would be too suspicious. There would likely be male cousins of the Renoux line that he would have chosen as heir. If he chose a young girl, then people would likely look into it. Also, she would instantly become one of the most sought-after hands in Luthadel. And Vin worries because this was her only job Kelsier gave her in the plan. If she can't do it, then what good is she to the crew? I think also during this time, it's like they come in and Vin's like taking some of the food and like hiding it in her shirt or something.
That part was so funny. And the part just coming up was funnier.
And Renoux says that she doesn't have to be his heir. She could simply be a young scion. He promised her parents, distant but favored cousins, that he would introduce her to court. She would be low status, not to mention somewhat rural. Kelsier says this would explain why she is less refined. Renoux says that she will still need some refinement, though, and not just in appearance.
Well, he's skipping the best part when he says, no offense, and she's tucking a wrapped up bread roll into her pocket, being like, why would I take offense? And he's like, yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's my kind of joke, like I said, that I could see being in a movie. That would be funny, you know? Like, perfect timing, like.
Yeah.
And Kelsier decides to have Sazed coach Vin.
Ooh, I can't wait. We're gonna have a Taming of the Shrew type moment here.
Sheta, you always reference that movie, but you're referencing it wrong, you know?
I know. I actually mean movies or stories where they take someone who's ugly, like with glasses or unrefined, and then they take the glasses off and they teach them how to walk in heels and they become all pretty and hot. That's what's gonna happen. And I love those type of stories.
So you're just explaining she's all that.
Yeah.
She's all that, Princess Diaries, you know.
Yeah.
Grease. I love that. Transformation movies. I like that.
I guess my thinking was, I would be thinking kind of like a Count of Monte Cristo. Or then he has the other guy just keeps teaching him all this stuff about how to act like a count and everything. So that way once he escapes from prison, he's able to impersonate it.
No, you have to wear heels and have makeup. Part of it.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that mid-2000s one, you two should watch it. It's really good.
I think I've seen it.
And I think that was Henry Cavill's first movie.
Okay, I'm watching it again.
So then Sazed starts leading, Kelsier and Vin to their rooms, and Kelsier apologizes to Vin about excluding her back there. Renoux's words were of a personal nature. He's a marvelous actor, but he's uncomfortable with people knowing the specifics of how he took Lord Renoux's place. And Vin believes Kelsier. And then Kelsier leaves to go off to his own room. After Sazed shows Vin where her room is, she looks back at where Kelsier went. And she asks Sazed, Kelsier, he's a good man, isn't he? And Kelsier says that he's the best he's known. And Vin's response is, a good man. I don't think I've ever known one of those before.
Oh, cute.
And that's the end of part 1.
I can't wait. I really want Vin to become very dedicated to Kelsier because he's the first person that's been nice to her. Like, people like Vin, when they meet someone good like that, they just, their whole life, they want to just, like, help them and support them and, like...
Yeah, become very loyal too, right?
Yeah, very loyal. So, having someone like Vin on your side, yeah, that would be really valuable.
One thing I like is, since we're also in Kelsier's head, we see that he's not like a person that's using Vin or anything. We see he actually wants to help her and try to heal her.
Yeah, that was a nice part. He sees how, like, skittish she is about everything. Because I think he came from that kind of life, though, right? Like, he grew up kind of similar. No?
No.
Oh, yeah. No. They were nobles, though.
Yeah, he was pretty much raised like a noble because his mother had convinced them that he was a noble.
Sheta, I think what you're thinking of is he said that he knew that he had a luckier life than most people in her situation do, you know.
Oh,
because a lot of people they don't survive when they're that young and they're on the streets or they're not, they're on their own like that.
I see.
So he knew her life must have been hard.
Mm.
He had a much easier life than pretty much all the other Ska.
Yeah.
Anything else in this chapter you two want to go over?
No.
Sheta?
No, I'm good too.
All right. Then we'll keep on trucking, and so we'll start asking you about some of this stuff. So now I've asked you about characters in the past, so now we've met some more of the crew, so I'll ask you about them. So let's start with your thoughts on. Start with Lestabornes.
I love him. He's my new favorite.
I knew you'd like him a lot.
He's so cute. I hope he has a shy relationship with Vin, where he keeps like I don't know, has a crush on her and is gonna leave like little presents for her and that kind of stuff.
Where did the presents come from?
That's just the archetype that I like shy boy who likes you but doesn't know how to say it and is awkward.
That was just very specific.
I'm thinking of an anime, but
Hmm.
All right, and how do you want Vin to respond to him?
I think she's never thought of that before because she's quite young too. Um, she'll probably not know what he's doing, but I would like her to. I wouldn't like want her to change, so I would just want her to be like you're weird, but then maybe like if he steps a little farther, like maybe he wants to hold her hand or something. I would.
Sounds like you got half a fan fiction written by that already.
She'll be like, tentatively like, sure, we can hold hands like that. And that's cute.
Justin, your thoughts on Mistborn is?
Oh, nothing specific. I don't really know him yet. I think it's interesting to have another young person, but I don't know enough about him to really say anything. I ain't writing no fan fiction yet, that's for sure.
All right, then what about Marsh?
Like I said, I like Marsh being somebody to call out a different, more moral position than what our main guys have. I also always think it's interesting what he says later about how they've never gotten along. It's not a new thing, you know? I always think that's interesting with siblings, that they just rub each other the wrong way sometimes. I'm curious to find out about his history with rebellious stuff, too.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy for I thought it was funny that when he shows up, I'm sorry, what's the leader of the Ska Rebellion, the current one's name?
Yeadon.
Yeden. Yeden's like Marsh, like all like reverent of him. And I was like, why? Well, that's crazy that was the main leader. Like he seems more like a leader of the rebellion than Yeden does. So I just think it's funny. I really like him in Kelsier's relationship. Like how he's pissed. He's like, I've been doing this my whole life and you're just gonna come in and try to do it, like try to like overthrow everything
Well,
all of
not
a
just that, but
sudden.
specifically for his own personal gain is what he's worried about.
Yeah. I'm so curious about their past and their relationship with this mystery woman.
Do you really think it's a mystery?
It's a
Yeah.
mystery because we don't know a lot about her.
Yeah. We
We
don't
don't know the
know.
details yet.
We know that they both like her, they both miss her, and they both wish that she was still alive. So I don't know. I wonder. Love triangle?
And then the other two characters we barely got to see some of them, but what about Sazed?
I like him a lot.
I knew you'd like him too.
Yeah.
I like him. I always like your incredibly competent butler type, archetype character.
I think
Or
it's
like
so
noble
weird.
assistant, whatever you'd call his title.
Yeah. Super assistant like Alfred. I thought it was weird that he knows they're not really nobles, but he still calls them like all the proper names and stuff. Like I wonder about their race or culture or whatever. I don't know. They said they were different.
Terrace.
Yeah. I don't know, is that a city or something or country? Not sure.
Well, I don't know. They said it was a people. That's what I know.
It's a
Yeah,
people,
that they
and in the epigraphs they did talk about
Yeah, they said there was one, and they
Oh,
had a lot of hate
yeah.
in
yeah,
them.
they were tall, and they're like in the my next stage of my quest will take me to the highlands of Terrace. This is said to be a cold,
Okay.
unforgiving place. Yeah,
I
they're
see.
tall.
Interesting.
And the last member of the crew that we met, Lord Renoux.
I loved Lord Renoux. I just loved him.
I
When
knew
he
you'd
came
like
in
him.
and he was just so good at being a noble, but I know he's lying. I found that so fascinating.
Yeah, Vin even complimented him like they're subtle about it,
Hmm.
like she really felt like he was a real lord because of how good he was acting.
I really want to see what the real him is like, or if he just has that in him.
Well, he kind of talks to. Well, maybe he just never breaks character though. I thought he
Yeah, I
was
don't think he
talking.
breaks character. That was my impression.
Yeah.
Maybe when he goes to the other room a little bit, but I would imagine that if you're going to live this long as a murdered noble, you're pretty hardcore about it.
Overall, their plan. So right now their plan is to, raise, an army about 10,000 people in the caves, and then Kelsier will start a house war between all the great houses. They will take about 1,000 troops, attack the pits of Hassan, get the garrison out, and they'll take the other 9,000 to go take over the city while all the nobles have taken out each other and then hold the city. Will this plan work?
I have a rule for any fictional story. If they explain out the plan to you in the story, it's never going to go right. It's always going to go wrong partway through. So I don't think so.
I have the same comment about it. I was just so used to them being, okay, this is what we're totally gonna do. Stay tuned for that. And I was like, yeah, we never see it.
I've learned most stories, especially in TV shows and movies, they would not waste the time showing you if they were just going to show you a second later. It is different in a book where they're explaining it and a year ahead of time, because seeing the details of it would be interesting. I imagine that it's going to kind of work, and then it's going to go horrifically, nightmarishly wrong at the most interesting part.
All right, which part do you think, when do you think it will go wrong? How?
When they find out that the Lord Ruler can read all their minds and knew all this ahead of time. Or it'll be when let's think.
I'll be betrayed.
Yeah, I mean, betrayed is such a generic way to do it, though. I don't know if I'd
Yeah, but that's what always happens. And that's the theme in the book.
Well, who betrays them then?
Kelsier,
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, the person you least expect.
Well, it would be the revolutionary leader then, Sheta.
Yeah. But it'd be in some kind of way where, like, that's the only way for them to get in or something. I don't know. Maybe he struck a deal for the Ska. Yeah. Like, he said he would free us or pay us or something if we outed you guys. I don't know.
How's Vin's lessons going to go? How's she going to fit in with the nobles?
Well, like Kelsier said, she's a fast learner. I think she would be very good at it. She's a survivor too, so if she needs to do this to survive, I think she'd be really good. But then she also has very strong habits or bad habits and tendencies that she's gonna have to get over before she can pretend to be before she can do a good job, because her instincts and her tendencies are too strong right now.
So we've heard a bunch of times about this betrayal that sent Kelsier to the pits of Hassan. That sent Kelsier and his wife to the pits of Hassan. When Ben was talking about it, Kelsier says that we don't know if there was a traitor.
Well, it's got to be that, because he said, regardless of what she did to us, that she betrayed them, but he's not willing to accept that it was a betrayal and thinks there was a reason for it. That would be my guess.
What's the question?
What was going on where where other people are saying that Kelsier and Mare were betrayed and that's why they got sent to the pits, but then Kelsier was saying nope, there was no we don't know for certain that there was a traitor.
Yeah, maybe he's in denial or something.
No, not that he's in denial, but that he just doesn't
believe it. He's in denial.
There may be other circumstances, that he may only half know. Because maybe when they're in the pits too, they didn't really get to talk much after that,
Yeah, but when he said that, when he said it, it didn't sound convincing.
Yeah.
So anything else from these chapters we went over today that you two wanted to discuss or bring up?
I've got a really stupid one. I've got a very specific problem where I'm currently reading 2 books where somebody is named Ham, which is not a very common name, so it's really throwing me off.
What's the other one? Dune?
No, in Doc Savage, one of the guys' names is Ham. It's a nickname because something happened in the army with Ham. This guy, at least, it's short for it, but it's such a stupid problem because it's one that no writer would envision happening, having such a specific word for a name.
All right. Well, I guess we will just move on to the characters and quotes of the week. So your characters, go.
Who first?
Whoever wants to go.
We need our orders. We're just Ska. We can't make our own choices.
Damn it. This is what this rebellion is about. You need to think for yourself.
There you go, Sheta.
I guess I really like Kelsier after this. Just seeing more of His talk with his brother was one of my favorite parts and stuff when they were trying to figure out or why he was doing what he was doing and stuff like that. A little bit about his beliefs and like a little bit of the real Kelsier came out at that point too, because um, he's like in his head he was like his brother always has this power over him that makes him come out a little bit. I thought that was really uh, interesting to see.
That's
And
true. Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah, and then also he was kind of laughing about killing the people, and his brother's like, "Man, like why are you always making things so like light of things like this?" And then he goes, "Humor is the only thing I have left. Humor and determination." I really like that. What the honorable mention of Lester Bornus. I like him a lot.
Well, my favorite character of the week is a pretty stupid one. It is the the Mist Wraith. I found that thing so fascinating. That was the most interesting part of the entire book so far for me. So I'm putting that as favorite character because I
That's
would have
not a
read
character.
chapters. I would have read chapters just about that thing. I'm so curious about it.
The Mystery.
With my honorable mention being the False Lord Renoux.
Oh, Lord Renoux.
Yeah, Renoux. Yeah, there you go.
All right, and mine will have to go with Vin. I really liked her in these chapters. You have her just starting to begin to trust people.
Oh, I know. I love Vin too. I kind of want to change it to Vin as well.
So switching
Sorry.
from Kelsier to Vin.
Yeah, just because I really liked all those moments when she was learning about nice stuff. Oh, that's a tough one though. Yeah, I'll stick with Vin too. Yeah, I really did like her a lot.
All right, and then quotes.
Guess mine's like okay, I'll just do the part where Yeaden's like, "What? Oh, what's to stop you from stabbing me and just taking over at the end of all this, and taking the empire for yourselves?" And then Breeze goes, "We're thieves, my dear man, not politicians. A nation is far too unwieldy a commodity to be worth our time. Once we have our ATM, we will be happy." And then Ham goes, "Not to mention rich." And Bree goes, "The two words are synonymous, Hammond." Like, they
Yeah,
only
I knew you
care
were going to
about
pick that.
money.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that made me like Breeze too, because I'm like, he's just like a man of simple taste, like rich taste, but that's all he needs. He's not like about ideas and caring that much about the cause. So that's funny.
Do you still find Breeze creepy?
Um, well, until we learn a little bit more about him, yeah. Yeah, he's too quick to use his powers for things.
For trivial things, too.
Yeah. Like,
He-
oh, and he maybe you'll say this word too, but or yeah, just that he wants people to do stuff for him. And he's like, that's the goal in life. Have people do stuff for you. That's economics, he says.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably has
Yeah.
like one of my favorite moments in these was where they're just having the meetings in the middle of talking, and he just lifts up his empty glass and Lester Bornus quickly goes and just refills it. Doesn't even have to say
Oh,
anything.
see? What a jerk.
Yeah, that
He's
part
so
was very
lazy.
funny. Maybe I'll give Breeze my honorable mention.
All right. Justin, your quote.
My quote comes from, how do you say it? Sazed.
Says
But it
it.
is, yes, Sazed.
Says it.
The right belief is like a good cloak, I think. If it fits you well, it keeps you warm and safe. The wrong fit, however, can suffocate. When he's trying to
Oh,
pitch some religion we don't know about to her, I found it really interesting because, well, like most quotes, it's true. Some people believe something and it makes their life so easy and helps them understand things. And then so many people believe something and it just makes their life horrible. It makes them do stuff they wouldn't want to do. It literally hurts them and lets people, ruin their life basically. So I think it's really interesting.
yeah, that is a good perspective on religion.
Well, not even just religion, but belief alone. Any belief you hold, if it's one
Um,
that you don't find to be true, but you just believe it because you're supposed to, like that can really mess up people's lives a lot because it's like a deep ingrained thing they're holding on to and defining the world by. but in a way where it doesn't benefit them in any way whatsoever, It's just what you're supposed to believe. So I found that very, very interesting about what the character's thought process is and how he said that his beliefs are why he's here. So I'm curious to learn about his past.
All right, then mine is the begin. Kelsier right after he and Vin went on to the mists. He swept his hands forward. This, Vin, this is ours. The night, the mists, they belong to us. God avoid the mists as if they were death. Thieves and soldiers go out at night, but they fear it nonetheless. Noblemen feign nonchalance, but the mist makes them uncomfortable. He turned, regarding her. The mists are your friend, Vin. They hide you, they protect you, and they give you power. Ministry doctrine, something rarely shared with Ska, claims that the Mistborn are descendants of the only men who remained true to the Lord Ruler during the days before his ascension. Other legends whisper that we are something beyond the Lord Ruler's power, something that was born on that day when the mists first came upon the land. And just this whole grand explanation of the mists and pretty much stating that, as Mistborn, they are of the mist.
Yeah, I can't believe there's so much about Mistborn that we learned in that chapter too. Like they're better than people or like they just are like they don't have to follow the rules. Like guards don't stop them, like they're even above like the noble courts and stuff like that. I didn't know that they were going to be like that.
And even Kelsier and Vin are even above the other Mistborn, because since they're nobles, they have like the unwritten rule not to attack other nobles, but Vin and Kelsier don't have to abide by that.
Yeah, they're just free.
All right. So the next week's chapters. Next week we will be starting part 2, which is called Rebels Beneath a Sky of Ash. And next week we'll be reading 3 chapters, chapters 9, 10, 11. You two got that?
Yep, 9 through 11.
All right. So next we'll go to our much beloved segment, the plugs.
All right, you can follow my Instagram at Sheta_low for my art. Right now, all throughout May is Mermaid, so I'll be doing mermaids all month. And for my outfit, fashion, and cosplay, you can go to my Mermaid Machete Instagram. And yep, that's it. To you, Justin.
You can follow me on most of the popular social media websites at Profanity Beaver, where you can see various art and comics of varying quality that have little to do with this, but hopefully have a lot to do with your tastes.
Are you on the unpopular social media sites as well?
I don't think so. I'm not on Facebook, or I'm not on MySpace, I mean.
Well, what about Threads? You have a Threads. I don't think anybody really uses that.
Yeah, I guess technically I'm on Threads, if that's your vibe. If it is, though, I don't know what kind of person you are, so I don't know. There's a lot of weirdos there.
Hey, a fan is a fan.
If you're a Threads person, I will happily welcome you into the fold and help re-educate you.
I've never been on there, so I don't know what it's like. All I've heard is that it
doesn't have any search parameters. You can't search. You can't do hashtags. You can't do anything. They don't even pretend that it's anything besides some weird algorithm. And I've read if you're not constantly engaging, you're not getting pushed out in any way. It's just so frustrating. I think I get when I post 2 likes per post, even though I have a couple hundred followers on there. It's such a weird site.
Hey, 2 likes is how much our key, account gets.
Yeah, but what's the ratio of followers to likes? That's the thing. Also, Key ain't much. Yeah, I do. I like our stuff usually. Key ain't that much easier than Threads. It's just much more. What am I trying to say? Intuitive, at least. God damn it! You got me calling it Key.
Yeah, is it really called Key, or did you just?
It's not called Key, Sheta.
I don't know. I don't use Key.
I don't know. When they first switched the name to just the letter X, my first thing was just being like, okay, it's just Twitter's nobody. The first thing I thought of was just Kingdom Hearts.
First thing I thought was, sweet, I don't have to hear the word Twitter anymore, but everyone still uses it.
Well, that's because the other choice is just calling it X.
Yeah, I would have done a slightly better name. I like changing the name, but I wouldn't have changed it to X.
something that's more marketable than just the letter X. Like when someone says, "Yep, follow us on," it just doesn't make sense. It's like follow us on X. You can watch us on X. It just sounds like there's something missing.
Yeah, X is used for too many things already. That's why.
Well, I think it's because he has like SpaceX and
Yeah.
he's got he puts an X in a lot of his company names. I'm
Oh.
fine with there being an X in it, but you could have called it something a little longer at least. But I don't know. We'll see.
I also think it was
We'll
a
see what the
troll
next
job.
generation. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe.
What?
I think he was just trolling people and he switched the name to just X.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because so many of the people that he hates are attached to the name Twitter, you know? Like it's such a big part of their identity. So switching it to X just stole it away from all those people, which I admit I found very funny. And yet I still can't bring myself to just easily call it that. I have to force it to call it that.
That's why you do what I do and just go with the Kingdom Hearts thing. I mean,
No,
even
maybe.
even if you look at our if you look at like on when we put up episodes out there, the little thing was like follow us on this. I even use the actual like Greek key logo. So it's like a little bit
See,
longer.
that's cool. That's a cool name. A cool logo.
Yeah. So it goes down lower than just a normal X. Yeah, because like our thing literally says follow us on key, a most ancient letter. All right. But yeah, just like that, let's go back into the other plugs. Like it said, follow us on Key, a most ancient letter, at Cosmere Chron, CosmereChron. You can also go to the YouTube if you want to leave comments on specific videos. Makes it real easy to find and read those. Or if you want to contact us directly, CosmereChronicles@gmail.com. If you want to send us, I will read them out loud.
No matter what they say, he will read them on air no matter what.
No, don't.
No, I did say if there's stuff that may cause legal issues, I probably won't read them.
Anything less than actual literal legal issues. Anything less than.
Or spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers is what I care about.
That's why I'm the one that looks at it and I pass it on. And then, also go and leave us, rate us on all whatever your podcast listening places are. Give us reviews. If I find them, I will also read those on air.
Yeah, and let us know if you want to know anything specific about what we think.
We will read them on air, and if they're negative, we will find you and hunt you down, is what I thought the rest of that sentence was going to be.
What?
We will read them on air, and we will dox you.
All right.
No,
and,
we won't.
I think this might be like the first or second episode we've recorded since I started putting out our, pitch to White Castle. Still no word back from White Castle on that, but I'll keep everyone updated. If anybody out there is if anybody out there is listening and you are part of the marketing team for White Castle, contact us.
And if any of you happen to be the literal CEO of White Castle, please leave a comment on Key, the most ancient letter.
or join us, be a guest on the podcast.
Wow. Turns out he's a big Cosmere fan and he's gonna join us.
Yep, so I guess that will be wrapping it up for this week. But anyways, everyone, go out there, go to your local White Castle, buy some food, it's delicious, and have fun.
Yeah, bring your own cheese if you're cheap like me.
Wait, what?
No, really? She doesn't bring it. It's when we're at home. That's when she would use it.
It's you buy White Castle, bring it home, and put your own cheese on?
You know how much cheaper and tastier it is when you use your own cheese, man?
Yeah.
That cheese adds like a whole $1 onto the order.
Yeah.
It's not expensive to begin with.
This shows how poor I am.
I can get like...
that was when we'd get like the 10 or 20 packs, and it was actually a couple bucks different. Have a bunch of cheese sitting at home. Might as well, It was pretty sweet.
Great. Now we're not going to get the White Castle sponsorship.
Oh, shit. I mean, do not ever use
White
other
Castle
cheese.
hacks.
It's inferior. White Castle cheese is the only... In fact, buy White Castle burgers just to use the cheese at home. That's how good it is.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we should say, White Castle, you should release your own brand of cheese so that we could buy it at the store. Because I want it on all my food.
This is the longest goodbye we've had.
It's a Minnesota goodbye.
We're just waiting on Justin's.
Wait, we're doing goodbyes?
That's where we were.
White Castle.
Yeah, we got interrupted in our goodbyes.
Oh, all right. Then I'm thinking Arby's.